Hello everyone, this is Jay High from Couch and Keyboard, and here I am again. This time going over Kagaribi. Now this event was pretty nuts, but I also want to go over some people that traveled for this. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. There's a bunch of people I noticed. There were some that were from South Korea. I didn't get all those, like other Asian countries. I got a few, but I kind of prioritized doing some other people. So I actually know Ray. Ray used to be MDVA, went to a few of my tournaments. I think placed third at one of them. But yeah, didn't quite get his seed, but one of the best links, in America right now. So good stuff. Montrose, another person from MDVA, outplaced seed, pretty good. Nestboy 12, one of the best in NorCal, about the same. 3-2, not bad. Mugen, formerly Hyper Kirby, yeah. Did fine. Looking at some of these wins, lost to Torigiri. That's gonna happen. Torigiri's pretty good. So good stuff, Mugen. Not quite what he was hoping for, but still good. Yeah, I got a little lost here. Whatever. Okay. I might have pressed something wrong. Okay. Next is Rivers. Seated very high. Had some good stuff earlier, but not quite what we were expecting of Rivers. We have You're Too Slow. A Sonic did not do very well at all. Only won one game. One set, rather. But it happens. Zozef got 129th. Good stuff. A Saudi Arabian player. Starting to do, they have a few players. I think Chad went out for one of those events in the Middle East. They're actually not that bad at the game. Loaf, a very good Wario, probably the best Wario in America. Definitely up there, but doing very well, going 8-2. Beating Masa, that's a really good win. Losing to Yara and Neo, I mean that's not bad at all. So good stuff. Gogeta, another Saudi Arabian player. Not quite doing as good as Zozef, but still having a pretty solid run. This was pretty good. So this is Oni-chan, the Speedy Blue. I don't know. Didn't do too hot, but there was also this kind of later thing in bracket about kind of redemption bracket types of stuff, so some people played a little bit more. Props to those that did, but not everyone did. Nathaniel, more of a Twitter user, didn't do too hot, but that's how it goes sometimes. Riddle, seated very high and has been doing all right this year. Didn't do the best at EVO Japan either, but props to just I think did better EVO Japan than here. But both super stacked events, Street Fighter at EVO Japan. It's going to be hard to balance both of those. He can sometimes, but it's more challenging. So I don't blame him here. Lost some good players. It's okay. Toon, very highly seeded, barely just got outside of top 24. Maybe a little disappointing there, losing to Gluto and Wrath. But still did fine. I think that's some people are learning the matchup and all this kinds of stuff, and you can't win them all. Then you have Jazzo, got his seed pretty much. I think actually got one below technically because top 32 and then it is the next. Either way, did fine here. Losing to Wrath and Nicola, yeah, that's pretty fine. Raflo definitely underperformed, but I mean, Rafa's been doing very good in region, and doing pretty good. Beat Suzune, a pretty good Mewtwo, covered in one of my videos. Still got top 128, can't complain too much. Obviously wanted to do better. We'll see. I'm interested in this tournament here, King of Fields. We'll see how Rafa bounces back there. Dr. Insano, most known for the Invitationals, did pretty good here. A little bit above expected. So good stuff. Dry B, a German Pichu, a little bit better than expected. Lost to Mild, beat Shion though, so that's pretty good. DK is kind of weird. I remember that matchup being, it's like, yeah, DK loses, but you're made of paper, and you're like, 5 hats. So sometimes DK can just kind of get you. Royal Blue from Utah, nothing too notable. Lost to Yoshidora, yeah, that's tough. Omega did, about as expected. Losing to Wrath, kind of unfortunate. They're both being from Georgia, but had a good run there. Avery, another Georgia player, doing pretty good. About got their seed. Chase, aka a Cola fan, he was pretty upset on Twitter about having to play Cola and Zama back to back. Yeah, that kind of sucks. But this still looks really good. Getting top 96 at this big of an event, very good. Noodle, a New Jersey DK here. Went 2-2, pretty good. Arc D, a up and coming. Well, I wouldn't say up and coming. I would say like fairly established Palutena. Got a little bit below the seed, but still did fine. Natoru, another European Pichu, got a little bit lower. Lost to Tamego. Tamego's pretty good. I think Kyoko is a Little Mac, so won that there. Tamego's pretty good. So King Joker, definitely not the best. Yeah, I recognize King Joker from MVA. Didn't do that well, but it's a tough bracket. It happens. Now Apple Reviewer, aka Durian Middleman, did very well. Like more than doubling, halving, either way. Did very, very well here. Beating Orca, just having a really far run here, so good stuff. Spickles, Spickles was like something about comparing Spickles and Raru, but like Spickles had a really good run here. Especially, not to say that Luigi's are that rampant, but there's more than just Raru. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some other Luigi that's pretty good. But, I mean, smoked his seed out of the water. Did very good here. Chone and all these other players, very good. Vins from France, not too hot, but again, that's how it goes. Nature of the beast. Skibbity Chungus 67 from Hong Kong. Not the best performance here, but hey, props. I think Hong Kong is like, obviously they're a pretty nice place, but I don't know how stylish their Smash is. So props to even coming out. And I'm sure there's more other like non-Japanese Asian players that I missed. But yeah. And then Lucky, not quite as good as his brother Loaf. A little bit low as seed, but still fine. Echo, another French player, did, I think technically this is the same level for seeding, but either way didn't underperform. So did good there. Atish, another French player, very good. I hadn't really heard of Atish very much. Took a game off of Mia, beat Cola, beat Gact. Very good run here. Good job, Atish. Lemon Juice, did pretty good. Another, or I guess a Pacific Northwest player I hadn't really heard of very much, and did pretty solid. And then Tarek got a little bit lower than his seed, not by much though. Lost to T and Shutone. That's tough. They have a couple of Greninjas over in Japan. I mean, yeah, I think that Tarek being seeded this high is a compliment, and getting a little bit below is not bad. And then we have Amai, I assume Diddy Kong, from Tri-State. Had a pretty good run here, beating Shion, losing to Drybee, that's okay. Lost to Shinda Lion, which I want to also check this out. But yeah, did okay. Luigi, another Luigi that traveled there. Maybe he was comparing Spickles and Luigi, I'm not sure. He did very high. Luigi's been doing very good. Not quite what we were expecting, but lost to Karage, lost to Rarikusu. Those aren't bad losses. So, and Siski did, I think, technically did just his seed. He was the lowest of these, the 16 players that get 33rd. He was the lowest of those seeds, and he got it. So that's fine. Lost to Ken, lost to KNB, beat Gact. So good stuff there. Clue another Pacific Northwest player. About the same. Lost to Montrose, lost to NDVA, but did okay. And scrubbed out a Indiana player. A little bit below his seed, but that's all right. Gustavo Fring from New Hampshire did all right, 3-2. Longo, a German Rob, 4-2, did all right here. I wanted to look at Shindalion because where was it? It's easier to look at it because it has a picture of the lion. I forget. I don't know, man. But either way, Shindalion had a pretty good run. We saw some pretty cool stuff. I'll just look at top 192. This was a killer bracket. Multiple game 5s here with Doramigi, Shuton advancing, Spargo, being seeded 13th. I think Leo was 12th. Mia beat Neo, and then Leo finally played. Leaf stole it from Wrath. This was pretty nuts. Gluto over Toon was a big deal against Pickles, making a decent run here. Ryuo. K and B's kind of been all the rage recently, but Ryuo has been doing very good as the highest placing Japanese Diddy at this event. Zamba again went game 5 with Chase. Then beat Ken and Ashimo back to back. Yoshidora lost to Ashimo. That's okay. Omega and Wrath had to play. Then I forgot Wrath played Chasu right after. So Georgia, it's not a bad thing to be in this spot, but it is unfortunate. Kameme didn't go too far. Shiryuki did all right. I guess this is formerly Alice, right? I guess not only just going Royce, also going a little bit of Kazuya. And then we have Mild making top 24. Luigi losing to Falcon. I feel like Falcon outranges Luigi pretty well. We've seen it in Melee too. And then we had, Apple having a pretty good run here. T beating Yo and P. This was Saya, I think. Had a pretty good run here, beating Ken, who just beat Siski, and Yoshidora. We've seen some familiar faces. Cola and Zachary was a pretty cool match there. Cola had just beaten Chase, Takei, and KNB, so good run from Cola. Raru beating Umeki. That's a tough run for Umeki. Raru losing pretty early to who did Raru lose to again? Yuza. Yeah, the really good Pikachu. And then we saw was it Mado? Something like that. Abadango had a good run. Loaf, a very good run here. Grape Soleil having a pretty big losers run, bouncing back from an early loss here to this Lucas. I forget the name of, but very early, and then ran it all the way back. So I know you may not like Steve, but this was an impressive run. Gotta give credit. So just continued. So in terms of breakdown for top 24, in winners you had two Mexico, you had 2 America, and you had 4 Japanese, which 2 of them playing, so one's guaranteed. 2 of the Mexican players are playing, one's guaranteed, and then both of them being Japan versus America. One of them not so great. One of them was very close, with Zamba getting the win here. Cola getting a win on Ashimo, but losing to Ryuo. So Ryuo 9th place. MK Leo clutching out. I know he's had some trouble in the Diddy matchup, but good stuff. Ryuo also beating Raru. This was pretty surprising. Another surprising result. Mia hasn't been doing that well, but did beat Wrath, but lost to Carmelo. T, solid top 16 performance. And Yara made top 8, 3-0 Tweak. Yara being, I think, the lowest seed, because it was like 1, this was like 13, Leo was 12, Okola was the 2 seed, Zamba was like the 6 seed, Shuton was, I think, either 8 or 9, I think 9, and then Hurt was the 3, Yara was the 16. So took Bormidi to game 5 and still made top 8 through losers. Having given some trouble by the Ices here. I actually watched this set, and it was interesting. Like, I felt like Yara was winning by so much, but it was close. I mean, those double hits, there's times to where even though Samus is heavy, sometimes those hammers do enough. And then top 8 was really cool. It was a very stacked top 8. Leo beating Shutone, that's been a bit of a demon, not crazy, but still, Leo was able to clutch that out, hurt Yara. It was curious because the grenades don't necessarily help Snake. It's not like a Game & Watch or a Ness or Lucas where they're absorbing it and able to use it either for healing or to send it back, or reflecting or something. But the charge shots just going into the grenades and blocking it. It just made it to where it turned pretty spammy, but it was I get it because your stuff isn't working, so you're trying to time it better and just put it out there. It was kind of an interesting match. Which is 3 versus 16. That's the largest mismatch of top 8 in terms of seeding. That's good stuff Yara even getting here. And then Doramigi Spargo was very close. Spargo clutching it out. One of the games was 40 seconds or something. That was nuts. Zomba heartbreaker against Akola. Another heartbreaker against MKLeo. If you're a fan of Zomba, after a great Genesis and just a good season overall. Looking at one of the best in the world. One of the times where the side B and Kilo just fell through it. It was a weird hurt box shifting thing. Doramigi was pretty surgical against Hurt. I think Hurt's gone Sonic in the past against Doramigi. Just because Min Min versus Snake is seen to be pretty bad. I saw an edge guard to where Min Min just kind of hit the Cypher and Snake just fell at 60. That's Snake dying at 60 is pretty rough. Snake's supposed to live to 180 every stock. And then I saw a crazy stat where every player that's been number 1 at any point was in the top 4. Where, obviously MKLeo for such a long time, and Spargo, which I think Aquila and then Spargo, and then Doramigi recently. All 4 of them, have been the best in the world and no one else. That's pretty nuts. And, this give Leo his flowers, man. He is keeping it in there. Just really competing at the top level. I know Leo Zombo have had a rivalry, and it was cool to see it play out again. I was hoping for a little bit of USA in top 4, but I can't be mad at MK Leo, man. He was playing electric. He tried out the Meta Knight early, didn't quite work out. Then the Joker, unfortunately, game 5 didn't go Leo's way. But I don't know. I think that Doramigi, I was starting, I played against a Min Min over the weekend, and it was not exactly very fun. But I'm starting to understand, the play a little bit, and so I'm not as much of a hater. And then Spargo, unfortunately, kind of got demolished by Aquila. This was surprising, because Spargo's had such a winning record against Aquila. And then barely lost Doramigi in the run back. They went 5-5 against each other, but Doramigi won the most important final game. And and then this Grand was pretty nuts. I wasn't as invested just because Min Min Steve. I was having to watch it because this was, I had to watch it later because it was so in the middle of the night, so I had to catch up. But the ending was crazy. This. Doramigi, I'll give him credit. A lot of old players do not edge guard very well. They just ledge trap, which is fair. But Doramigi goes way off stage, but he overextended, and then a minecart untechable, ending the entire event was wild. And Aquila getting back. Aquila was kind of the head of the world, especially of Japan, but then Mia started taking it. Hurt, Doramigi, they're a really strong top 4, but Aquila's been that guy, and he got it back. So good stuff, Aquila. I think the last Kagaribi that a ton of people traveled for, it was Tweed got 4th, and then the rest was top 3. So if you're, wanting the NA Avengers to succeed, 3rd and 4th, and then another getting 5th, that's good. Having 5 Japan, and then 3 North America, with Gluto getting 9th for Europe. I'd say this was fairly successful. All things considering, I mean, Leo beating Mia and then Shutone, KNB, Zomba, going game 5. Like this was a good trip for MK Leo. There was a big thing about if he would be able to go. I'm glad he was. This was very exciting for Leo. And Sparko. I mean, Sparko's back. He's underperformed at times, but this was really cool to see. If you like the the two Mexican goats here, I think that this was a good showing. Ultimately, I was like, yo, Leo could win this whole freaking thing, man. Didn't quite happen. Ultimately, I wanted at least to have someone from NA and Grands. But this was a cool event. I really enjoyed it. There was also an earlier event, like Ikesuma or something like that. That was pretty interesting. Let me grab it real fast. Yeah, this had happened before. It was during Golden Week. So Yara won that. So Yara stock's looking up. Doing pretty well. Toon, also beating Shutone, beating Raru, and but yeah, this was good. I think this probably helped Toon get seated high. Shirayuki lost early, and this was a pretty nutty event in of itself, even if we didn't have Kagaribi right after. Terry making top 8, good stuff here. But yeah, there's a few smaller stuff. We saw Olimar in top 3. Uame having a pretty good losers run here. I mean, this is pretty sizable. Good at the Sonic matchup, I guess. But yeah, a lot of good stuff. I think there's another one coming up next week. I think Spargo's at least entering. I'm not sure who is staying out. But yeah, it's really cool to see. I wish there's probably a little bit more prize money, but I mean, Japan does a great job over there between Evo Japan and Kagaribi. Both really cool. I paid more attention to Kagaribi, but I'm excited to see more like worldliness. Because for Melee, it's very America focused. Latin America starting to get up there a little bit, but Europe's kind of falling off. Triff and Nikki are still good, but like you don't have the Armada left in like real dominance from the European part of the world. So from Japan, it's been a lot more America centric recently, and I think it's good to have a worldly esport. We see League, we see Rocket League, we see Valorant, like all these different games, CS:GO, CS2 now. Like it's good to have this like global game that we play, and I think it's been awesome. And I want to see what happens next in Japan, and I'm excited. Good stuff to everyone that went. And I mean, 2,000 entrants to 2,800. This is Evo numbers up here. It's really impressive. It was like super premiere. It was crazy how stacked it was, and it's just hard to like grasp it all because of how crazy it was. But it was awesome, and yeah, long live Ultimate. Good stuff.